The division bodies gather. Chapter 2. At that time, the division bodies of Earth-Star Bodhisattva began gathering in the palace of the Trayastrimsha Heaven from billions of inexpressible, inconceivable, immeasurable, ineffable, limitless asamkhya's of ones. They came from wherever else are found. Due to the spiritual powers of the First Come One, each came from his own direction and was joined by thousands of billions of Nayutas, of those who had obtained liberation from the path of karma. All brought incense and flowers as offerings to the Buddha. Those groups who came were irreversible from Anuttara Samya Sambuddhi because they had been touched and transformed by Earth-Star Bodhisattva. For long else, they had wandered in birth and death, undergoing suffering within the six paths without even temporary respite. Now they had reached various levels of sagehood due to the great compassion and deep vows of Earth-Star Bodhisattva. They felt joyful as they arrived at the Trayastrimsha Heaven and gazed at the First Come One, their eyes not leaving him for a moment. At that time, the World Honored One stretched forth his golden-colored arm and rubbed the crowns of all the division bodies of Earth-Star Bodhisattva Mahasattva gathered from billions of inexpressible, inconceivable, immeasurable, ineffable, limitless asamkhya's of ones, and said, I teach and transform obstinate beings such as these within the evil ones of the Five Turbidities, causing their minds to be regulated and subdued so that they renounce the deviant and return to the proper. But one or two out of 10 still cling to their bad habits. For them, I again divide into thousands of billions of bodies and use numerous additional expedient means. Those with keen rules will listen and immediately believe. Those with good rewards will respond to exhortation and strive to succeed. Those who are dim and dull will only return after being tortured for a long time. Those whose karma is heavy will fail to show any respect. My division bodies take across and liberate all those different kinds of beings. I may appear in a male body, I may appear in a female body, I may appear in the body of a god or dragon, I may appear in the body of a spirit or ghost. I may appear as a mountain, a forest, a stream, a spring, a river, a lake, a fountain, or a well, in order to benefit people. I use all these ways to save beings. I may appear in the body of God Chakra. I may appear in the body of Lord Brahma. I may appear in the body of a wheel-turning king. I may appear in the body of a lay person. I may appear in the body of a national leader. I may appear in the body of a prime minister. I may appear in the body of an official. I may appear in the body of a bhikshu, a bhikshuni, an upasaka, an upasika, and so forth, up to the body of a hearer, an arhat, a pratika Buddha, or a Bodhisattva, in order to teach and rescue beings. It is not that I appear to them only in the body of a Buddha. Reflect on how I have toiled for repeated errands and endured acute suffering to take a cross and free stubborn beings who resist being taught and continue to suffer for their offenses. Those not yet subdued undergo retributions according to their karma. If they fall into the evil destinies and are enduring tremendous suffering, then you should remember the gravity of this entrustment I am now making to you here in the palace of the Trayastrimsha Heaven. Find ways to liberate all beings in the Saha world from now until the time when Maitreya comes into the world. Have them escape suffering forever, encounter Buddhas, and receive predictions. At that time, all the division bodies of earth-store Bodhisattva that came from all those worlds merged into a single form. Then he wept and said to the Buddha, "Throughout the long ages I have been receiving the Buddha's guidance, and from that have developed inconceivable spiritual power and great wisdom. My division bodies fill worlds as many as grains of sand in millions of billions of Ganges rivers. In each of those worlds, I transform myself into millions of billions of bodies. Each body rescues millions of billions of people, helping them to return respectfully to the Triple Jewel, escape birth and death forever, and reach the bliss of Nirvana. Even if their good deeds within the Buddha Dharma amount to as little as a strand of hair, a drop of water, a grain of sand, a mote of dust, or the tip of a hair, I will gradually take them across, liberate them, and help them gain great benefit. I only hope that the world-honored one will not be worried about beings of the future who have bad karma." In that way, he addressed the Buddha 3 times. I only hope that the world-honored one will not be worried about beings of the future who have bad karma. At that time, the Buddha praised Earth-store Bodhisattva and said, "Excellent, excellent. I will help you in this work you so willingly undertake. When the vast vows that you keep making throughout so many ends are fulfilled and all those beings have been saved, then you will be certified as having attained Buddhi." Contemplating the karmic conditions of beings, Chapter 3. At that time, the Buddha's mother, Lady Maya, placed her palms together respectfully and asked Earth-store Bodhisattva, "Great sage, could you tell us about the different kinds of karma that beings of Jambudvipa create and the resulting retributions that they undergo?" Earth-store replied, "There are millions of worlds and lands that may or may not have women, may or may not have health, may or may not have the Buddha Dharma, and so forth, up to having or not having hearers and Pratyeka Buddhas. Since the worlds differ, the retributions in the hells also differ." Lady Maya spoke again to the Bodhisattva. "Could you please tell us about the offenses committed by those in Jambudvipa that result in retributions in the evil destinies?" Earth-store replied, "Worthy mother, please listen as I speak briefly about that." The Buddha's mother answered, "Great sage, please do tell us about it." Then Earth-store Bodhisattva said to the worthy mother, "Retributions that result from offenses committed in Jambudvipa are described like this. Beings who are not filial to their parents, even to the point of harming or killing them, will fall into the relentless hell where for thousands of billions of ages they will seek escape in vain. Beings who shed the Buddha's blood, slander the Triple Jewel, and do not venerate sutras will fall into the relentless hell where for thousands of billions of ages they will seek escape in vain. Beings who usurp or damage the property of the eternally dwelling, who defy bhikshus or bhikshunis, who commit sexual acts within the Sangharama, or who kill or harm beings there, will fall into the relentless hell where for thousands of billions of ages they will seek escape in vain. Beings who seem to be Shramanas, but in their minds are not Shramanas, who destroy the things of the eternally dwelling, who deceive lay people, who go against the precepts and who commit many other evil deeds, will fall into the relentless hell, where for thousands of billions of aeons they will seek escape in vain. Beings who steal the wealth and property of the eternally dwelling, including its grains, food and drink, and clothing, or who take anything at all that was not given to them, will fall into the relentless hell, where for thousands of billions of aeons they will seek escape in vain. Earth Star continued, Worthy Mother, beings who commit such offenses will fall into the fivefold relentless hell, where they will constantly seek temporary relief from their suffering, but will never receive even a moment's relief. Lady Maya further asked Earth Star Bodhisattva, why is that hell called relentless? Earth Star replied, Worthy Mother, all the hells are within the great Iron Ring Mountain. The 18 great hells and the 500 subsequent ones each have their own names. There are hundreds of thousands more that also have their own names. The relentless hell is found within a city of hells that encompasses more than 80,000 square miles. That city is made entirely of iron. An unbroken mass of fire extends for 10,000 miles above the city. Within the city are many interconnected hells, each with a different name. There is just one hell called Relentless. Its circumference is 18,000 miles. The wall of that hell is 1,000 miles high, totally made of iron, and covered with a fire burning downward that is met by a fire burning upward. Iron snakes and dogs spewing fire race back and forth along the top of that wall. In that hell, there is a bed that extends for 10,000 miles. One person undergoing punishment sees his or her body covering the entire bed. When hundreds of thousands of people undergo punishment simultaneously, each still sees his or her own body covering the bed. That is how retributions are undergone by those with the same karma. What is more, these offenders undergo extreme suffering. Hundreds of thousands of yakshas and other evil ghosts display fangs like swords and eyes like lightning as they pull and drag the offenders with their brass-clawed hands. Other yakshas wield huge iron halberds that they use to pierce the offenders' mouths and noses or stab their bellies and backs. They toss the offenders into the air and then catch them by skewering them with the halberds, or they let them drop onto the bed. Iron eagles peck at the offenders' eyes, and iron serpents wrap around their necks. Long nails are driven into all their limbs. Their tongues are pulled out, stretched, and then plowed through. Their internal organs are gouged out, sliced, and miced. Molten copper is poured into their mouths, and their bodies are bound with hot iron. Responses to their karma go on like that throughout hundreds of thousands of deaths and rebirths. They pass through hundreds of millions of ends seeking escape in vain. When this world is destroyed, they find themselves in another world. When that world is destroyed, they pass on to another one. When that world too is destroyed, They move on to another one. When this world comes into being again, they return here. The situation involving relentless retribution for offenses is like that. Moreover, 5 karmic responses account for the name relentless. What are the 5? First, it is said to be relentless because punishment is undergone day and night throughout many ends without ceasing for a moment. Second, it is said to be relentless because one person feels it in the same way that many people feel it. Third, it is said to be relentless because repeated punishments continue without cease throughout years that stretch into nayutas of ends. Those punishments are inflicted by instruments of torture such as forks and clubs, or by eagles, serpents, wolves, and dogs, or by pounding, grinding, sawing, drilling, chiseling, cutting, and chopping, or by boiling liquids, iron nails, iron ropes, iron asses, and iron horses, or by rawhide strips bound around one's head, and moistened iron poured over one's body, or by meals of iron pellets and drinks of moistened iron. Fourth, it is said to be relentless because all beings undergo karmic responses based on the offenses that they have committed, whether they be men, women, savages, old, young, honorable, or lowly, whether they be dragons, spirits, gods, or ghosts. Fifth, it is said to be relentless because offenders continually undergo 10,000 deaths and as many rebirths each day and night from the moment they first enter this hell and on through hundreds of thousands of ends. During that time, they seek even a moment's relief, but it never comes. Only when their karma is exhausted can they leave the hell and be born elsewhere. A star Bodhisattva said to the worthy mother, "That is a brief description of the relentless hell. If I were to speak extensively about the names of all the implements of punishment in the hells and all the sufferings there, I could not finish speaking in an entire hour." After hearing that, Lady Maya placed her palms together, sorrowfully made obeisance, and withdrew.